Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Chris, and today I checked out this new movie called Daemonium, or Daemonium. I'm not really sure how you pronounce this. The movie is about grief, resurrection, demonic bargains, and maybe a Prius. It's kind of about that as well. We're going to get into it today, guys, so make sure you strap on your butts and you get ready for a ride. That's not a saying, but it sounded like it because I said it confidently. Let's move on. So the movie opens with this very serious conversation, but it's very distracting because the guy is wearing a shirt that says cheesy movies on it, and it made me just immediately enter into my filmmaking brain. Because it was so distracting, it was the only thing I could keep an eye on in the scene. You have to identify why a wardrobe matters when you are making a film. You could be delivering some of the most emotionally devastating dialogue of all time, but if you're wearing a shirt that says, "I like Cheetos," or something like that, no one's gonna fucking listen because it's super distracting and it takes you out of the scene.
All those moments will be lost in time, like tears.
And that's where the movie introduces one of its most favorite filmmaking techniques, and that is, of course, the dip to black. A scene ends, we dip to black. Another scene begins, we dip to black. Finally, someone enters the room and, well, we're dipping to black. Honestly, I didn't know at some point while watching this movie if I was just dipping to black or if I was blinking and they were extended blinks and I was having some sort of medical crisis, because the movie will have a scene that's about 12 seconds long and we dip to black and go to another scene, and it's just chaotic and it feels, of course, very amateur. Transitions are incredibly difficult and need to be thought out when making a movie because you need to have a pacing structure that feels natural and feels like it rhythmically hits for the moments of the scene. And when you dip to black, it's like the curtains shutting on a scene and we are all waiting for the next scene. It doesn't feel like the scenes build on each other naturally. It's like we're starting over every time. So after dipping to black about 700 times, we get shown several scenes in which a guy is pulling his Prius out of the driveway. He's backing the Prius in. He's parking the Prius. We're at the house. There's a Prius. We got a Prius. I think it's important to let the audience know every time he goes in his Prius, because what if, God forbid, he had a different Prius? You never know. It's kind of important to the film. I mean, without these scenes, we wouldn't know that the guy drives his Prius places. And that's important, especially if you like Priuses. It just felt redundant. I'm making fun of it, obviously. It just felt redundant, not necessary. You set it up the one time. I think we know he has a Prius. I don't need to see him back it in. Although he's pretty good at it, he backed that Prius in like a professional. Eventually, our main character, she sits down at a computer and she types in a website. I looked at it. It was Grindhouse Graphics Movie Search. And that site still exists. So I went there because she, in the search box, types in resurrection spell. She's given all these other search results and eventually orders a resurrection spell book. So I went to the site and I ordered one myself. Now we'll see by the end of the episode who we end up resurrecting. I did think it was kind of funny that it doesn't even make it complicated for her to be able to order this resurrection spell. It's not like the dark web. It's not like some secret thing. She just goes to some shitty website, puts it in, and automatically gets this resurrection spell. Whatever. But make sure if you do order it, you use promo code SATAN to get free shipping. That's what I did. So this is the basic storyline. She wants to resurrect her dead sister. So eventually this leads to her purchasing this box, this like Hellraiser-esque looking box that when she does some sort of spell on it, she is transported into a demonic world, which is just like the darkness, where a demon sits on a throne and he tells her that he wants to be fingered. That's not right.
Anything you want, just tell me.
I'm a demon. It's not going to be pretty.
I don't care, just tell me.
A finger.
So she has to decide who she can kill to get a finger for this demon. So she drives around, we get shots of that, and then it appears that there is a homeless camp actually set up in her backyard where she walks up to a woman, does not hesitate in the slightest, and friggin' just bing. She doesn't cry, she doesn't panic, she doesn't search for any other solution. She just straight up friggin' binks that friggin' lady right in the friggin' head. It was brutal, man. She did not care at all about this homeless woman living in her backyard. So she kills her, cuts her finger off. It was actually a pretty decent effect. They had the blood squirting out. I was kind of impressed. This shit escalated quicker than I've seen on a Facebook neighborhood group. I'm just saying, like, she did not mess around. Bing, bang, bong, she's dead. And that's where the movie kind of lost me a little bit, because it's set up for the first 20 minutes or so that we're supposed to be empathetic for this woman who lost her sister. She very clearly cared a lot about her, and the movie is obviously exploring what are the lengths you will go to bring back a loved one. We've seen this before many times in other films. One of the inspirations for this film, clearly, with the box, is Hellraiser, and there's obviously an element to the story in Hellraiser of that, and also, like, the most recent thing I can think of is, like, Bring Her Back, which is primarily all about that theme. But in this, she's gonna go to these lengths, but it doesn't seem like there's many lengths to go to, because she does not seem to care or hesitate in killing anyone. We soon quickly learn that the finger of a homeless person was not enough for this demon. Now he wants a tongue. So she goes to the local fried chicken place and fucking kills the guy and takes out his tongue. And then, of course, that's not enough, so the demon wants something else and something else. She ends up going to a park and standing behind the biggest fucking tree I've ever seen in my life. This thing, I swear to God, like, the dinosaurs were around when this tree was invented. So she's supposed to kill a child and rip out its eye. No hesitation, no thought, does it. Just straight up murders a child by blah! She like ninja moves this fucking kid like it's nobody's business. I'm not even kidding. Like I'm surprised she's not running for government with how little she cares about murdering children. So far she's killed a homeless person, a fried chicken guy, and a young kid at a park. Zero remorse, zero thought, just went straight up murder. And again, back to the theme of how far would you go to bring back a loved one. I feel like it's got to have some sort of limits, and to go from a homeless person to a child and have zero problem or zero hesitation in that was a little concerning. I feel like at some point she needs to reach those limits, fight against them, rationalize them in some way, and then make a decision. But it feels like the decision was made. She's willing to do anything, no limits, right from the top. And it kind of goes against most of the story that it's building, because there's nowhere for the morality to deteriorate along this journey. The demon then asks her to lure someone and get his scalp, so she goes to a bar, does that, bada bing, bada boom, scalping left and right. For a movie at this budget level, the practical effect of scalping someone looked pretty good. I was on board. And I think that's probably one of the bigger pieces that comes through in this movie where a lot of effort was applied, was to pulling off some of these practical effects in fun ways, and I think they did it for the most part. Now the demon's still not satisfied, wants her best friend. And you would think at this point, maybe, lady, maybe, just a little bit of hesitation. Hell no, she fucking just, nothing. She's just straight ice cold murderer. We got a finger, we got a tongue, we got an eyeball, we got a scalp, we got a heart, but we need one more thing, and that is, of course, a face. And you know what who the demons wants for a face? Obviously her boyfriend or her husband. This is what the movie's been building to, and this is kind of one of the problems with the film, is it's incredibly repetitive and redundant, and we could see where it was going from the first time that the demon said this isn't enough. So we were building to this, and again, because the character showed no remorse, no hesitation, no thought about any of this, it's to be expected that she's just gonna go ahead and do this with no problem. So I think the movie needed another source of tension, and 10 minutes from the end of the movie, we're introduced to a detective who's kinda on the trail of her, maybe. And this could have been a point of detention sprinkled throughout the movie of whether or not she's going to get caught doing this stuff. Like if she was struggling internally while attempting to fulfill these demons' requests while a detective is hunting her down and getting closer and closer, at least the tension could have been rising the entire film. Like she'd have to clean up the evidence and lie to her husband or her friends as victims are reported missing, and maybe the demon gives her like a deadline so she has to do it by a certain time, even though all this pressure's building up that she has to hide this stuff, blah, blah. Like that's how you make an actual compelling story, I guess is my point. With actual conflict and tension and stakes, and not like meat steaks, guys. Like stakes. So after she does finally cut the face of her husband, she takes it to the demon, and the demon's like, thanks, but I was never gonna bring your sister back. And then he just walks off into the black void, and she's left there like, well, shit. And that's kind of how the viewer feels. It's like, well, shit. So yeah, potentially I think there's an interesting story hidden inside Daemonium. Now, that being said, this is a no-budget movie. It clearly has no crew. They didn't do any lighting except for practical lighting. The audio sounds like it's on camera, but it seems fairly competently shot. The editing is a little rough, like I'm saying. It's fairly amateur in its transitions and all that. The pacing of the movie struggles as well. But I think the creators clearly cared and tried to make something entertaining, and I can applaud that a lot more than many other films. So, I mean, the movie has grief, it's got murder, it's got practical gore effects, and best of all, it has a friggin' Prius, and they park that shit. So that's Daemonium. If you want to check it out, then do it. What the hell did that do? Oh my god. Jared Leto? What are you doing here? I didn't even know you were dead.
It's me, Jared Leto.
Somebody call the cops. Get away from my kids, Jared Leto.